desegregation in any degree and efforts to dismantle diversity in our school system, which is a key component of any quality education. The NAACP stands with this progressive multiracial coalition, and we speak with one voice: forward ever, backwards never. We must fight resegregation and demand high-quality, constitutional, diverse, well-funded education for all our children, all of them. Bruce, you know that Dr. King fought for that. And we here today, years later, 47 years after the March on Washington, find ourselves still having to fight those who would, rather than embrace the future, want to continue to reach backwards. We stand against resegregation anywhere, period. We stand against it here in Wake County because Wake County is the largest school system in this state, a national model for socioeconomic diversity, and what happens here is having and will have an impact on the nation and educational policy nationwide. The NAACP nor our partners are in this to cut backdoor deals, play games with our children's future, or lose hope and sight of our fundamental principles. Don't ask us to compromise on something less than what our foremothers and forefathers have already fought for. And we will use every means of direct action, legal, political, in the streets, in the suites, to fight for a constitutional, diverse, high-quality, well-funded education for every child. Black and white progressives in Wake County school leaders made a courageous decision in January of 2000, ushered in the new year, this new decade, with the student assignment and magnet selection plan based on socioeconomic status and student achievement. It was supported by national research linking integrated student environments with healthy schools. Wake leaders established a goal of an effective, safe learning environment for every child through stipulating that no more than 40% of students at any given school should be eligible for free and reduced lunch. No more than 25% of students should have scored below grade level on statewide reading tests, and that school facilities should operate between 85 and 100% of capacity. That's noble. That's right. That was good. That should be embraced. It should not be dismantled. 56 years ago, the NAACP won the fight to end separate but equal schools. Not just so black children could sit beside white children, even though that's a good thing, a powerful thing, and necessary in a global society. But we fought because it was unconstitutional. We fought because separate but equal produced poisonous inequities in teacher pay, school curriculums, textbooks, transportation, and other opportunities. Segregation by law was wrong then because it produced barriers no child should have had to face, and attempts to resegregate is wrong now. The anti-diversity contingents on the Wake County School Board is sad and tragic, have tried to spin the public conversation by pitting socioeconomic diversity as the enemy of school excellence, which they know is disingenuous and unfounded. They have tried to make diversity a dirty word, which is wrong. The Anti-Diversity Caucus should have never started this fight to dismantle diversity. 40 years of education research shows that isolating students in racially identifiable high poverty schools creates dangerous pockets of misery and failure that can sink a school system, and it hurts African American children, Latino children, and poor white children. And so we come today committed. Segregation of any form not only resegregates bodies, but books, budgets, buildings, teachers, curriculums, and all of the basic building blocks of a high-quality education. This school board's anti-diversity caucus is regressive, and their policies will foster racially identifiable and high-poverty schools. They want to tear down something that has had years of progress. It will hurt all of our students, And we believe this form of disparate impact is illegal and must be challenged. No form of real progress in public education has ever come without activism, protest, litigation, and progressive legislation. The anti-diversity members of the board are backed by the conservative right. There are two major backers. Bob Luddy runs a chain of private schools that are virtually segregated, and the chairman sits on the board of those private schools. Art Pope is connected to the Civitas as $1 million funder toward their right-wing causes and has deep connections with American for Prosperity. The Civitas group is an unabashed supporters of vouchers and tax credits. They fight efforts to reduce class size, oppose funding for early childhood programs for at-risk kids, and routinely call for less support for teachers and school administrators. In this battle to dismantle, they have used all the code words of the old days: neighborhood schools, which is the code word that came out of the Wallace campaign, which meant our schools versus them, us versus them, private schools with public dollars. They've called the four members and others like Bill McNeil and Dale Burns and others who participated in building this system social engineers. That was the same negative critique that was thrown at Thurgood Marshall and whites and blacks that worked in the civil rights movement. They have raised this notion of forced busing, and they know that's not even the case in Wake County because 99% of the kids already go to school within 10 miles of their home. And there's no school system you can build that you won't have to have some buses unless you're going to build a school on every block. So they've used all the code words. They've twisted the numbers and the stats, trying to confuse the public, trying to make us think that somehow this system is bad when we know, in fact, that since the system has been put in place, African-American performance of students has doubled. Graduation rates are higher than those in Charlotte. And when you look at other urban areas around this country, read Gerald Grant's book, Hope and Despair in American Cities, Why There Are No Bad Schools in Wake. And it will tell you how powerful this is, the crown jewel. It's not perfect, no system is. But that is working should not be dismantled. That is working should not be dismantled. They refuse to give us a 45-minute audience to lay out what makes high-quality, constitutional, well-funded, diverse schools. They refuse to look at the cost that it's going to take in tax money and the future cost that we're going to have with the numbers of students coming into the system. They refuse to assess how this is going to affect poor children and black children. They refuse to look at how their efforts will isolate African-American, Latino, and poor, modest-income white children. They dismissed the city council, who said we don't want to go down this road. They dismissed the county commissioner. They dismissed the chamber. They dismissed parent groups and others. They dismissed their own survey that they sent out, where 94% of the parents said that we like where we are. So here we have a dismissing of history, a dismissing of research, a dismissing of public opinion, a dismissing of political power, all because they are stuck in an ideological time warp that wants to go backward. But we come here this morning in the sacred sanctuary of this church, black and white, young and old, Latino and others, saying forward ever, backwards never. We will not go back without a... And so